Hey beautiful, my name is Patricia and today I'm gonna share with you what to do when you're a sensitive person, how to navigate through life, right? Instead of coping. Maybe you have done this quite for some time, trying to pretend you're okay while you're actually not. So I'd like to make on this point also a little announcement, which is about my one-on-one coaching sessions. They are open now for registration, meaning please complete a questionnaire where we will look into, do we match? Is our working together compatible, right? Because it's quite important that we are on an eye contact level, and it's important that you know what you're going into, and as well for me. And so we'd like to have a discovery call at first and see whether this is a match or not. As you know, in the past, I have closed my books and it was quite fast sold out. So if you'd like to have a catch and get a chance to actually improve yourself, to feel more grounded in yourself, because you had a spiritual awakening, because you want to grow, because you want your life different or to be different, then this is the time for you. And with this, we actually are almost ready to start. I'm also quite happy that you are every week here with me. You're trying to work on yourself. And at this point of time, I just like to say thank you. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for doing the work. I know it can be really hard. It can be exhausting. So I'd like to really say thank you from the heart that I'm able to do this work for you, with you, together. Let's go. Let's be real. As a sensitive, growing up wasn't fun. I'm pretty sure that you have experienced something similar, or maybe different, but it has caused you a lot of pain. It did for me too. What has happened? Well, I could feel people's emotions, and because I couldn't manage to even deal with my own emotions, I was constantly overwhelmed. Meaning, I would come in a room and I could sense everyone's emotions. But as a child, I didn't know that these aren't mine. As a child, I felt they are mine. So I would experience not only my own emotions as my own, I would also experience my parents' emotions as my own. I would experience my friends' emotions as my own. And I didn't really know that this wasn't mine, or it wasn't something I could solve or heal or going through or transform. It was very difficult for me to accept that this is a blessing, because I hated it. I hated to feel how everyone is feeling. I really didn't like it. It made me feel miserable. Only though because I didn't know how to actually navigate. Because I had no idea how to really ground myself. And as well, I didn't really have the support. I was actually really desperate. Really, really desperate. So I was looking around for help, and I would actually ask for help, but somehow no one seemed to understand what I needed, and therefore I was kind of dissociating, meaning I would have coped or it was my coping strategy, I have to say it this way, and I would just be somehow in another world, being transformed in another world. Maybe you have experienced this as well. And so maybe you come either way from a similar experience where this hasn't been really acknowledged in your life. You haven't acknowledged it. Or people around you didn't acknowledge it. You know, it wasn't the environment where you could actually really open up and say, hey, what do I do with this? See, I always thought this is negative. I always thought being sensitive is crap. I always thought that feeling too much isn't good, because that was the way how I grew up. I realized at one moment, well, I cannot really let go of that simply because it's in my nature. So somehow I have to learn how to go with it instead of against it. How do you do that when you have no clue where to start? And this was only one topic that was really hard on me. Well, eventually I found actually a kind of good solution for me. I realized that when I understand my own emotion and when I learn who I really am, and I can understand where do I need to make my boundaries, then I'm actually in the place to not only help myself, but also help the other person to really express their needs. Because as soon as I'm stable and stable within, grounded within, I'm actually able to just tap in their field and to just say to them what I see. And that actually helps them to understand their situation from a really different angle. So now, as a coach, I can actually use that skill. Growing up and being in environment that didn't really support it, that was really hard for me, because I was constantly reminded that my skill isn't a skill, it's a weakness. But now as a coach, I can totally use it. And I can see that my clients are really like, that's it, exactly. Yeah, you brought it really to the point. You see? So you are actually, with being sensitive, you're actually helping people to view their emotions. So it is indeed a blessing in the sky when you know how to use it. But for that, you really need to be stable within yourself. For that, you need to understand your own emotions, your own feelings, where you're coming from, and not to actually get between those two things. Because, see, their emotions are over there. Yes, you can show them, you can guide them, but you can also actually make a boundary and say, listen, I don't see myself in position to actually go there. Now this can be outspoken, and this can be by just going away, energetically going away. You don't have to be with people who are draining you, who are putting you down. And as a sensitive, you know this already miles before you're there. You already know if this person or if these people are good for you or not. Your senses are really, really in tune. And when you can step into this power, then you know, is it good for you or not? Do I have the energy to actually be in that space or not? And it's super important that you understand that you have a choice. You have a choice to actually either way take it or leave. It's not on you to always be the rock. You don't have to support everyone. You don't have to be the rock for everyone. Because at first you're the rock for yourself. And only when you feel that you are grounded enough, that you are in a position where you can actually support someone else, then you can do that. But you don't have to do that. And just because you feel their pain doesn't mean that you have to jump in and somehow support them and help them and do what you can. And then just realizing that they don't do anything. That was my trait, my past. I used to help people, they didn't even ask for help because I could feel their pain. And in my head it was, why would you be in pain? Why wouldn't you get help? But some people are not ready to get help. Some people need to really feel their pain first. And it's not on you to decide whether they are ready or not. You see? It's theirs, not yours. So don't get confused between those two. This really helps when you are with people in communication, as well in work, private, in business, whatever you are in, use your senses above those 5 senses we have. Use it. You cannot see it, you cannot taste it, it's still there. You can feel it here, and you know by heart that's true. Trust your gut. Trust your intuition that when something feels off, it most probably is off. And see, that's the feeling when I have, step away immediately. I don't explain myself, I just go. I say something like, I have to go now. I don't really explain why, I just go. I don't over-explain myself anymore and tell them, hey, this is why, because I feel this and this. Sometimes that's not even required. It's not needed that you overshare what you sense. But yes, if a person comes to me and says, well, what do you think? And really wants to hear from my perspective what I can sense, then I will step in if I have, and this is so important, if I have the energy to do so. Right? I will not do something that is actually not in my favor, or not, I have to say it differently, that is not or against myself, I would say. Thank you so much for being here. And with this, I already let you go. Remember, the spots are open for one-on-one coachings. And the link for that is in the description box. And then I let you go. Bye.